Hello everyone. Today we will discuss about Civics Chapter 3, the Parliamentary System. In previous module, we had read about the Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha and the functions of the Parliament. In this module, we will read about the President, their powers and the Prime Minister and Council of Ministers. First is President. Being a parliamentary form of government, India has a separate head of state. The head of state holds the highest office and it is that of the President of India. He is elected by an electoral college which consists of the elected members of both the houses of the parliament and the legislative assemblies of the states and union territories of Delhi and Puducherry. The president is elected for a term of 5 years. The qualification necessary to become the President of India: first, a citizen of India above the age of 35 years and not holding any office of profit under the central, state or local governments. The President draws a salary of rupees 5 lakh per month. He is entitled to other allowances as permissible by law in force from time to time. The salary and allowances cannot be reduced during the President's term of office. Now the President enjoys a variety of powers. First is legislative powers. The President summons and prorogues all the session of the Parliament and addresses the first session of the Parliament every year. No bill can become a law without the President's approval and signature. The President can also issue ordinances when the Parliament is not in session. When there is a deadlock in the Parliament over a particular bill, the President calls for a joint session. The President can dissolve the Parliament on the advice of the Council of Ministers. Now, executive powers. The President has some executive powers and he can appoint the leader of the majority party as the Prime Minister, the governors of the states and the Chief Justice and other judges of the Supreme Court and High Court, and the chairman and the members of the Union Public Service Commission and the Attorney General. President has some judicial power also. In judicial power, the President can reduce or commute death sentence to life imprisonment or receiving a petition for mercy. In financial powers, the annual budget is placed before the Parliament in the name of the President. No money bill can be introduced in the Parliament unless recommended by the President. In case of unforeseen expenditure, the President grants an advance from the contingency funds of India. In military power, the President is the Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces of India. He has the power to declare war and conclude peace. He appoints the chiefs of the Army, Navy and Air Force. Diplomatic powers. The President represents India at international forums and receives ambassadors. The President appoints the ambassadors and high commissioners to other countries. All international treaties and agreements are concluded in his name. Now the emergency powers of the President. The President has certain special powers to deal with emergency situations. He can impose emergency in case of an external aggression or an armed rebellion. If the constitutional machinery of a state breaks down, and if there is a threat to the financial stability of the country, the President is the constitutional head and exercises his power on the advice of the Prime Minister and Council of Ministers. Now, how is the President rule starts? When a state faces the breakdown of constitutional machinery, the President takes over the rule of the state, and the President can be removed from office on grounds of violating the Constitution. The process of removing the President from office is called impeachment process. Now the Prime Minister and the Council of Ministers, the party or the combination of parties that wins the majority of seats in the Lok Sabha is invited by the President to form the government. The leader or the party is appointed as the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister is the most powerful person of the government. Now, certain powers of the Prime Minister. On the recommendation of the Prime Minister, the President appoints the Council of Ministers. The Prime Minister is the link between the Parliament and the President, and also between the Council of Ministers and President. It is the Prime Minister who advises the President on the appointment of the governors. The Prime Minister advises the President when to summons, dissolve and prorogues the Parliament. The Prime Minister is the chairperson of the Planning Commission. The Prime Minister chooses the Council of Ministers from among the members of his or her party in Parliament. The Council has three categories of ministers. First is Cabinet Ministers, then Ministers of State Independent Charge, and third is Ministers of State. Now Cabinet Ministers hold the highest rank and take important decisions. They had different portfolios or department of the central government like finance and defense. Ministers of state have to abide by the decisions made by the cabinet. Now powers of the Council of Ministers. Minister introduce government bill in the Parliament. The union budget is prepared by the Council, and all laws passed by the Parliament are put into effect by the ministers. To be eligible for appointment as a minister, a person must be a member of either House of Parliament. However, a person who is not a member can be appointed for 6 months, but he has to obtain membership of either house during this time. The Prime Minister is the head of the Council of Ministers. The Council works under the Prime Minister as a team. It is collectively responsible and is answerable to the Parliament for any decision taken by it. If and when the Lok Sabha passes a no confidence motion, it is not just the Prime Minister but also the Council of Ministers has to resign. Now some questions from the chapter. First we will see the short questions. Why did India opt for parliamentary form of government? So first, being a British colony, India was influenced by the British parliamentary system of governance. And to give equal representation to the multiple religious and linguistic groups so that they could elect their representatives, and the executive being responsible to the parliament and reduces the chances of the dictatorship. Second question is, describe the composition of the Rajya Sabha. In Rajya Sabha is also called the upper house of the Council of States, and Rajya Sabha have 250 members, and out of this 238 members represent the states and union territories, and members of the legislative assemblies, they elect the members of the Rajya Sabha, and the Vice President of India presides over the Rajya Sabha. Now this next question is, third question is, distinguish between Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. So in Lok Sabha maximum strength is 552, and while in Rajya Sabha maximum strength is 250 members. In Lok Sabha 530 members in states and 20 members in from union territories and 2 members from Anglo-Indian community, and in Rajya Sabha 238 members from states and union territories and 12 members nominated by the President. Lok Sabha is presided by the Speaker, and the Rajya Sabha, it is presided by the Chairman, Vice President, and in Lok Sabha members are elected for 5 years, while Rajya Sabha are elected for 6 years. Now fourth question is, what do you understand by collective responsibility of the Council of Ministers? The Prime Minister is the head of the Council of Ministers, and this council works under the Prime Minister and as a team, and it is a collective responsibility, and they are answerable to the Parliament for any decision taken by them. And if and when the Lok Sabha passes a no confidence motion, it is not just the Prime Minister but all Council of Ministers, they also have to resign. Now long questions from the chapter. First is, discuss in detail the functions of the Parliament. So several functions of the Parliament are there, and the most important is introduction of a new bills. Like first is the Parliament introduced new bills and can change the old ones also, and a law is first introduced in a form of a bill, and bill can be broadly classified into 3 categories. First is money bill, then ordinary bill, and constitutional amendment bill. One by one we will see. Money bill will contain provision related to tax regulations, regulation of borrowing of money by the government, and payment to or withdrawal from the contingency or the consolidated fund of India. And ordinary bill are draft proposals for ordinary legislation, And in Constitutional Amendment Bill, it deals with the amendment of our constitution, and they can be introduced in either house of the parliament. Second function is financial control over the government. In this we can write the parliament exercises control over the government's income and expenditure, and the parliament provide ways and means to raise the revenue required, and also ensures that the money so granted has been spent for the authorized purpose, and for this purpose parliament has control over the government through the budget. Now third function is control over the executive. The parliament keeps a check on the ministers and their work. Members of the parliament have the right to question the ministers about the policies and programs of the government through question hour or through 0 hour. Next function is organ of information. The parliament works as an organ of information, and members of parliament can call for any information except that which may threaten the security of the country, and the information provided by the parliament is truthful and precise. So the parliament, we can say the parliament has is also called multifunctional institution. Now second question is, what is the difference between simple plurality and majority voting system? So elections in India follow the first past and the post electoral system. This is called simple plurality, and in this voting system a single winner is chosen in the given constituency by the virtue of getting more votes than any individual representatives, and the person or the party that receives more than half of the total seats of the Lok Sabha is declared the winner, and the leader of the winning party with the maximum number of elected members is invited by the president to form the government. Now next question is, we have to write the definitions of constituency. A constituency is a geographical area represented by a member of parliament. Only one person is elected from each constituency. Then question R, it is a period of time when the ministers answer questions asked by the members of parliament. Next is 0 hour, time immediately after the question hour. It is called because it starts at 12 noon, which is the 0 hour, 0 hour of the day. Then President rule, when a state faces the breakdown of the constitutional machinery, the president takes over the rule of the state. Next question is, describe the executive emergency powers of the president. In executive powers, the president has the power to appoint the leaders of the majority party as the prime minister, governors of the states, chief justice, other judges of the Supreme Court and the High Court, and the chairman and the members of Union Public UPSC, we can say Union Public Service Commission, and the Attorney General. Certain emergency powers are also, in case of an external aggression or an armed rebellion, President has power to impose emergency, and if the constitutional machinery of a state breaks down, if there is a threat to the financial stability of the country, and the president is the constitutional head and exercises his power on the advice of the prime minister and the council of ministers. I hope you understood the chapter. Thank you.